The future is already here. Like we are seeing it. The last 3 months have been wild.
Tell us a little about you,
Yeah,
and then roll us into how you're using AI right now, and what's the impact that you're seeing of your job on the
absolutely.
life of people.
Yeah, thank you, Ruben, for having me. The future is already here. Like we are seeing it. The last 3 months have been wild in the space, both as from a building perspective and from a product perspective. My name's Amit. I've been in technology for several decades. Won't age myself more than that. Um, Mostly working as a founding engineer for small startups. I had the opportunity to get acquired last year by a large scale publicly traded healthcare company that deals in precision medicine.
Mhm.
And they have AI for everything. They have agents, they have agent builders. It's in the product, it's in the essence of how we're building stuff. And now we're really sort of focusing in on engineers harnessing all of the tools available today to really accelerate how we work. And it's been a game changer in terms of productivity. There's some philosophical things that people have talked about in terms of adoption. Is it good? Is it bad? I'm happy to talk about those more.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're really leaning into AI from a building standpoint, using coding agents to really power through what we're doing, uh, becoming humans on the loop instead of humans in the loop. Really kind of understanding and building the process of solving a problem and letting the AI handle the mechanics of building the syntax and the code. So that's where we are today. And then inside the product, we have AI agents running that are ambient, but also chatbots, very aware of the situation, able to serve components that are contextual, graphs, links, images, whatever sort of React components you need get served in the canvas. So we're really kind of trying to be cutting edge around all the things we do. And yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's very interesting. You mentioned agent coding. How's that different from vibe coding?
So vibe coding and the newest version of that, agentic engineering, are both terms coined by Andrej Karpathy, who's well known in the space, former Tesla, former OpenAI. Vibe coding, I find, is more of something that is a hobbyist and non-technical folks will do, and it's great. I love it. I love folks that are non-technical getting involved and building amazing things, and I've seen tons of them. Agentic engineering is a much more enterprise grade version of vibe coding, where you have to really be thoughtful about how you build, making sure you're building the right things, making sure it's building it according to standards, making sure it's building it according to security policies and compliance, and ultimately producing code that you would be happy to put to production
Mhm.
versus just saying, I'm going to vibe code an app. So there's a lot more process involved in agentic engineering, I think, that makes it a little bit more complicated, but still, at its essence, it's vibe coding, which is an enterprise wrapper around it.
How is that different from traditional coding?
Absolutely. It's a good point. It's a good distinction. Uh, there's several ways. So we'll go down the spectrum.
Mhm.
Somebody gives you a task to build a web page. You can understand what they're trying to build, understand the components they want, the images they want, the interactions they want, and then you can build that using React, download React, start coding in React and TypeScript, and build a web page. And that's great. A
Mhm.
lot of people are still there and doing that, and I applaud that. That's awesome. You can vibe code something. You can say, hey, I want to build a web page and I want it to kind of look like this, and I want these colors and I want these kinds of images. Help me build that. And you can use it as a collaborator and build back and forth and kind of talk to it. You can help it plan how you want to build stuff. So you can go to the next logical plan, use it as a collaborator to build. Or if you get to the far end of the spectrum, which is like, kind of the YOLO mode, you only live once. So
Mhm.
you tell it what you want in sort of a descriptive prompt and see what it does for you. And that's the vibe coding spectrum and life cycle. Agentic engineering, we're using, and for all these things, you're using tools like Claude Code, Codex, Cursor, Open Open Code. So these are a bunch of flavors of harnesses that folks are using out there to build code, and they all work in similar ways, but they have their nuances. I personally find Claude Code to be the best. No shameless plug. It's wonderful. Um, you can tell it very descriptive things to do, how you want stuff done. You can give it rules. You can give it commands. You can tell it to do things after it's done. So you're really adhering to policies. and it's been it's kind of like magic. Like, but the thing you have to do if you're building for enterprise grade is you have to start refining those prompts you build. So you have to evaluate your outputs, see what it gives you. Would me writing this code have given me the same output every time you do it in a very deterministic manner? And if so, then that evaluates well, and you can kind of have some trust in that model and that flow, and you can put that on production.
Okay.
If it doesn't evaluate well, you go back and refine the prompt, the process, the rules, the skills that it has until it gives you the output that you want. So the thing with coding agents is they're working real time. They don't produce the same output every time, even in a very deterministic and evaluated way. If you get 80% evaluation, you're in good shape. So I don't know if that answered the question, but that's the spectrum of agentic coding and vibe coding.
Yeah, so I think it does, but I would like to go a little bit deeper, perhaps. So every time you talk about iterating with the AI,
Yeah.
it seems that you're doing it in a very natural language,
Correct.
whereas before coding required to
Yeah.
learn a subset of rules and
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. You have to go to school to be an engineer.
correct.
And it's still very valuable to understand the fundamentals of software engineering. I think it's tantamount to build things in a very specific way. So being an engineer today, I mean, is of great value, especially if you're using these tools. So the analogy I like to use is, previously as a software engineer, I was a pilot. I was at the seat, toggling the switches, steering the wheel, landing gear down, landing gear up. I have to understand all the instrumentation. Now, in the age of agentic engineering, I see myself more as like an air traffic controller, where there's a lot of planes out there flying themselves, and I have to tweak and make sure they land right and there's no crashes. So I might tell this one to land this way, take off that way, turn a few degrees that way, turn a few degrees that way, and make sure there's no collisions. And God forbid there's a collision, you have to go and see why that happened, evaluate what you did, what you told the system to do, and fix it. So it's the pilot versus the air traffic controller. You have a more wider breadth of things you can do at once, but then you also have to make sure those things are orchestrated and working as a harmonious machine that's solving your problem.
Right? Correct. So human being the orchestrator of the AI agents.
For now, human being the orchestrator of those agents. But it's getting to the point where within 6 to 12 months, they'll be orchestrating themselves, and you'll still have a lot to do as a human to orchestrate, make sure things are going well. You'll what I see it as, I get back a lot of time for not having to code, having agents code, to really focus on problems and think about them. And I don't think I've done that in a long time. I've been so productive using these tools where I'm actually thinking about a problem so I can solve it, which is making me solve a lot more problems. So it's like this really weird flywheel. You learn the tools, you're solving more, you're building more, you're more productive. And I promise that's what I hear from everybody.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So still, let me continue on the trend of the coding. So computers are binary.
Yeah.
But then we build assembler coding, and then we run Java code, and then Ruby, and now we are getting back to natural language.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that doesn't know how to express themselves.
Yeah.
So seems that now with AI, that's the way we need to interact with the machine. What's the learning that we have to do in order to get great results? Does the actual communication, the language communication, has something to do with it?
It does. The more descriptive you are, the better.
Okay.
There's two ways to I see to solve this, and I'm not joking. Take a story writing class or writing class and become a better writer. Use your imagination more, even if you have to free write. Do that because it helps you think and put that to paper. And the other thing is use the tools to do the writing. So tell it what you want and say, please help me build the prompt that's going to do this. And then you can go several iterations of that prompt and see what you're missing, what you're not missing. And the AI can help you build that in a very descriptive way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yes, it's become much more just natural language now. So it is enabling anybody who has an imagination or an idea and that can be descriptive about it to build things. and I've seen amazing thing comes out of non-engineers.
Awesome. So now that you talk about non-engineers, so what does a business person needs to know about AI in order to feel confident about using it
Yeah.
to bring an idea to life?
The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club, but you have to start using the tools.
Okay.
Pick a tool, use it. There's no right or wrong answer. Like I said, I'm a Claude fan. Claude has several variations of it. There's Claude Code, which is used by engineers, but it's the foundation of Claude Cowork, which is a fantastic tool for non-engineers. But I use it as well. It's great for everyday stuff.
Sure.
I would say pick those types of tools and try to have it solve your hardest problem and have it try to solve a problem for you that is repetitive. I think those two things, if you're able to prove to yourself that it can do your hardest part of your job and the most repetitive part of your job and cycle through that, I mean, you'll see how much of a game changer. So I think the hardest hurdle is getting in. It's not as hard as it looks.
Sure.
Once you get in and you use your imagination, you can do all of these things that might have needed an engineer for before. They might not be production grade. I'll say that, but if they're useful tools for you, they're great.
Correct. So about that, recently I had a conversation with another great engineer like yourself, and he was saying something along the lines that you can make something that works, and then you can do something that is reliable.
Yeah.
So from what I'm saying, what I'm hearing, definitely we can get easily something that is workable.
Yeah.
But then comes all the guardrails and other security features that you might need to take in consideration when you want to build a scale.
Yeah.
So is also that possible with agentic coding, and it is how?
There's some guardrails built into some of the tools that we use. Security is always going to be a problem. There's things like OpenClaw now, which you can run on a Mac at home or some computer lying at home, and it's very capable to do a lot of things. But it's also its biggest con is it's very capable of doing a lot of things. It can send emails on your behalf. If it sends the wrong email, that's your responsibility. It can delete files off your computer. That's your responsibility. So ultimately, you're responsible as a human for the things, the actions an AI takes. So having a little bit of a security mindset is good. Don't put in passwords into the AI. Don't put in API keys. Don't put in anything sensitive into the API or try into the AI systems, because anything you wouldn't want to show, be able to share with somebody, don't share. That's my word of advice. Use it how you want to use it,
Of course.
but yeah. So if you for hobbyists, I think that's my advice: is just be careful what you're doing, what you're putting in, but build the stuff you want to build. It's very capable of building that. If you want to now take that to the next level and maybe make a product out of it or make a company out of it, I would say then engage with somebody who is technical, just to make sure that you have all the bases covered around security, architecture, scalability, cost. Cost is a huge one. You can spend thousands of dollars if you use these things wrong, especially OpenClaw. But a lot of them have by default turned on like re-up my account when I run out of credits. Make sure those things are off. Don't use it for like simple things if you don't need to. But cost is going to be a big factor, especially as engineers building it. I love using as many tokens as I can to build, and I'll often run out. And I don't know if I've used those efficiently or not. So that's something I'm trying to measure for myself is token efficiency. Am I using it to solve the right problem? And am I using the least amount of tokens to solve that problem? Or am I using a ton of them just to reiterate and try to fix a bug in the same code base? So I'm very cognizant of that as an engineer side. So as a hobbyist, just be secure, be sensible, use common sense. If you want to get to the next level, engage with somebody who's technical to make sure that you have the basis covered and you can move to production pretty easily.
And that's going to be the human.
That's going to be the human on the loop. Yeah,
human.
You hear human in the loop quite a bit. I think that's the last 3 to 6 months have, at least from my point of view, have proven I'm a human on the loop. Loop's just running. I'm there just kind of babysitting and making sure it's running true and going round and round and removing any kind of obstacles out of its way. And if it happens to have a flat tire, I fix the flat tire. But I get back away and it's going again. So I don't have to be in the loop if I don't want to be.
Okay.
And we're able to do that now. You have to be in the loop for a while to kind of direct things and approve and look at stuff. But small things you can now get from just somebody reported a bug and just tell the AI to fix it, and it can push the fix for you if you're confident that you're your prompts and flow work well.
Yeah. So about confidence, are we seeing AI taking over stuff on our daily basis that we will rely on them 100% without any shadow of doubt?
I'm not a doomsdayer by any stretch of the imagination, but AI is taking more of the low level work away, meaning I don't have to necessarily code if I don't want to.
Mhm.
It does a very good job at doing the actual coding. I got to get better at making sure it does the kind of code I would build, but I don't have to build a code anymore. I can say, okay, how do I solve this problem now? So it goes back to we as engineers at the heart of being an engineer, you're trying to solve a problem.
Yep.
It lets me get back to that essence,
Mhm.
and eventually, what that looks like, maybe I'm replaced. I don't know, but from being a sort of a doomsdayer and saying we're all toast, I've come to a very like balanced place, saying that these are tools are great.
Mhm.
Use them. If you use them, you'll be okay.
Correct.
That's it.
So to reiterate that,
Yeah.
one of the things I'm hearing is so for sure AI is a tool on the toolbox
Yeah.
that just raise the floor so that we can continue raising the ceiling, and
Correct.
it's just a way for the individual contributor to be more capable, more productive, but not necessarily to replace.
Correct. Yeah. The productivity gains are just in some cases unimaginable. Like they're just something that would have taken me a week to write might take an AI coding agent 3 minutes to write.
Mhm.
And so I've got a week of time now. I can focus on either the next problem or refining the problem I'm working on, and that's amazing. As an engineer, I've never had that. Like I've always been, you're already working on the next thing while you're working on the other thing, and it's not fun.
Correct.
Yeah.
And funny that you mentioned this. So things that you could do in a longer period of time now are being done more quickly, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to lay back.
No,
You will continue building, and that's where the things start to get interesting.
it's more it's yeah. Again, my point of view, not everybody's. I'm having a lot more fun building
Mhm.
because I'm not having to worry about the code. I'm more confident about building things too now because I feel like AI is a very supportive tool. So if I don't know a technology, I can go learn it. I can ask the AI, hey, teach me about this technology. So
Mhm.
I'll step back to where I was saying before, like use these things also as teachers.
Right.
They know, they have a lot more context sitting in code or whatever subject you want to learn about.
Mhm.
They know about it. And so especially in coding itself, if you put a cursor or Claude into your code base, learning a new code base becomes almost trivial now. It can create a nice detailed file with diagrams and point you back to places in the code where you can actually go read the code. I don't need README files anymore. It doesn't take me, weeks to get upskilled on a new code base. I can look at it, I can read, and I can start working on it and kind of learn as I go, knowing that there's an AI there to support me and kind of understands the context of it.
Good. So yeah, I guess to finalize, with what you mentioned about AI teaching.
Yeah.
So one of our fellows was also telling us recently that he believes in a world where um, the junior engineers are going to be taught by machines.
Yeah.
Hopefully, taking humans in consideration on
Yeah.
what are they learning,
Hmm.
so that you could have like a full set of staff engineers monitoring what the
Yeah.
AI is teaching to juniors, but that a way to create the new generation of juniors. And what I come up with what was with this idea of stop looking for unicorns, start creating them. And,
Yeah.
and you mentioned that maybe we will end up doing unicorns.
Unicorns. Yeah. Junior unicorns.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody knows where this is going. I know the tools are very capable. I know that people are still hiring junior engineers, and it's because you know, regardless of how long you've been in the engineering space, this is a very novel time to be around in software engineering. As far back as most people can remember, it's kind of like the Wild West gold rush. Nobody knows what to do. No, there's no real standards, and everybody's learning at the same time.
Mhm.
So junior, senior, middle tier doesn't matter. We're all kind of at the same place, and it's you're as good as how much you want to take in and learn and absorb. So even as a junior engineer, if you can learn the patterns of how to build stuff, so many YouTube tutorials, so many like articles and blogs from Claude, from OpenAI, you can learn it. And if you can prove that you know the stuff, you're golden. You're good. The other thing is with juniors, once we start codifying and standardizing this stuff, it's going to get taught in schools. Those folks are going to be coming in with sort of the cutting edge way to do the stuff next and teach us. So I'm looking forward to that. So I would hire folks because that's, you know, they're going to be teaching us how to actually use the tools going forward. We're learning together now, but there's going to be a time in the near future that's going to be flipped.
AI native engineers.
AI native engineers.
Did you enjoy this video? Then hit the like button and share it with your network. Also be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.